This episode is made possible by Armoire. Armoire makes getting dressed easy. With a clothing rental membership from Armoire, build the perfect wardrobe with brands that are high quality, unique, and recommended just for you. All you have to do is take a 5-minute style quiz and select items from your dynamic, personalized closet. The styles show up at your door in as little as 2 days. Then when you're ready for new clothes, just swap them out. Listen, I live in Southern California. There is absolutely no need for puffer coats or any sort of those winter jackets. But when I travel anywhere else in the world in these cold months, I'm often burdened with the task of getting winter clothes. And now with Armoire, I can just rent my winter wardrobe. It's brilliant. Right now, our listeners can give Armoire a try and get up to 50% off their first month. That's up to $125 off. Just visit armoire.style/dateable. That is armoire.style, spelled ARMOIRE.style/DATEABLE to get up to 50% off your first month and never worry about what to wear again. Try Armoire today.
I was so excited to get my shipment from Last Bottle Wines in the mail the other day, full of incredible red wines, all from Napa Valley. I love wine tasting, so having this to my door couldn't be happier. Also, couldn't be more excited that today's episode is brought to you by Last Bottle Wines. If you don't know already, they're a Napa-based online wine shop with a twist. They offer just one handpicked wine per day until it sells out, and they're always at incredible prices. We're talking 30 to 70% off retail. And the best part is that there's no subscriptions, no fees, and no minimum purchase. And I could not be more excited to bring this offer right now because they're having a marathon sale, which is coming up March 28th and 29th. Even better, we're offering Dateable listeners 10% off your first order with code DATEABLE. So if you are a wine lover like me, this is a great time to join. And did I mention that shipping is 100% free? So what are you waiting for? Mark your calendar for March 28th and 29th, or get on it earlier if you want. You can sign up at lastbottlewines.com and use code DATEABLE and find out why Last Bottle is the most fun way to discover and buy amazing wine.
The Dateable podcast features real stories from real people of how they make modern dating work, or not. I'm your host, Yue, former dating coach turned dating insider, if you will. On each episode, you'll hear commentary from my producer, Julie Kraftchick, and other surprise co-hosts. This episode of Dateable is brought to you by 500 Brunches. 500 Brunches connects like-minded people with similar interests to meet in real life over brunch. You answer a quick questionnaire about your interests and how you spend your time, and then they'll match you in small groups of 6 to 8 at a brunch spot in San Francisco. Get a free entry into a brunch now by signing up at 500brunches.com and using the code DATEABLE. Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Dateable, a show all about modern dating. Yay, it's the end of the year, the perfect time to catch up with some of your favorite past guests. What have they been up to? Are they still out there dating, or have they met someone? Have they changed their mindset since being on the show? Well, be prepared to be surprised, amused, and delighted by our recent catch-up sessions. Let's start with Shelby. If you remember, for the opener of season 7, we sent Shelby on 2 blind dates. In fact, the episode is called 2 Blind Dates. She met Matt and Bo and seemed to really hit it off with Matt, whom she saw twice before he left on a trip. So what happened when he got back in town? Let's find out. Shelby, hi.
Hello.
I am dying to know what happened. The last time we spoke, you had just finished 2 blind dates, one with Matt, one with Bo. And you really hit it off with Matt. That night ended up in a nice makeout sesh. You guys crashed a party. And things didn't go as well with Bo. So obviously of the 2, you had your favorite. And then Matt went away, right? He went on a trip.
Yeah, he was on a trip.
I remember we were all strategizing about ways to keep in touch because we know how it goes when one person leaves town. Okay, what happened?
So yeah, I think when we were on the show, we discussed me reaching out, just checking in while he was gone, which I did. So I think it was a few days after he had been gone, I just wrote him a message, something about what we had been talking about. And then I just said, hope you're having a good trip and work is going well. And I think he just texted back, like, thanks for letting me know this other thing that we were talking about. And then he just said, trip's been great, working a lot. So it was just kind of like a really short reply. And that was it.
That was it? You never saw him again?
Never heard from him again. Never saw him again. And yeah, I kind of call it a typical SF dating scenario.
Oh, bummer. Did you try reaching out to him again?
No.
Like,
I kind of felt like I put myself out there when he was gone, and I reached out and kind of the short text, and I understand that he was working and things like that. But I mean, honestly, if he wanted to see me when he got back, he would have reached out. So
right.
Yeah.
If you did see him now or ran into him on the street, which could very well happen, would you confront him or ask him?
Yeah, I totally would.
What would you ask him? What would you say to him?
Well, I would obviously I feel like I'm a pretty open person. I would just say hi and talk to him and see how he was doing and just kind of be like, hey, whatever happened? Like, I never heard from you. So, I mean, he was a nice guy. We got along well. So, I don't hold it against him. But, we went on 1.5 dates. I feel like we didn't really have any, like, obligation. But it would have been nice to just have a quick, like, hey, just don't see this going anywhere text. But
right, yeah, people don't do that. They just let things fade. The exact same thing happened to me too. Exact same thing. And it's just like right before the trip, it's like so exciting because you just started dating. You kind of think, well, this has potential, it could go somewhere, and everybody says the right things then, like, oh, can't wait to see you again once you're back. And then you just never know what happens once they're on that trip.
But honestly, it's interesting because I will tell you, I do have a boyfriend now.
What?
Yes.
Oh,
but good. Interesting enough, when I met him at a party, and he got my number, but he was like, I'm going out of town for like a week or so. Hopefully I can text you when I get back and we can hang out. And I was like, sure. And honestly, when that happened, I was like, I'm never going to hear from this guy.
Right.
And he reached out to me, but it was right before I was leaving for Burning Man. So I was like, hey, I'm leaving now for about 2 weeks. So how about I'll let you know when I'm back? And so it was kind of interesting because then I did reach out when I got back, and it started off relatively slow. And then, now we're together. So.
Oh my gosh. How long ago did you meet him?
So a couple weeks before Burning Man. So maybe like 3-ish months ago.
And you guys have been dating for how long?
I guess since that time, and we've been official for maybe like a month now.
And how did it become official?
He kind of just called me his girlfriend, and I was like, oh, okay. I guess I'm okay with that. And he was like, okay.
How did he call you his girlfriend? Was it when introducing you?
It was actually like we were just talking about the weekend. He was like, this has been a great weekend. I just like bought a new surfboard. I got a new wetsuit. And he was like, and I have a new girlfriend. And I was like, oh. Okay. But it was just so easy. Like it wasn't pressured. It wasn't like we needed to like sit down and have the chat and need to know where we were. Cause I think we already both felt like we were there. But yeah, it was just such an interesting thing because compared to the Matt situation, that's why I think at this point I was like, if he wanted to reach out, he would have.
It's just so fascinating, isn't it? Because if it's meant to work out, it shouldn't be that hard. Mm-hmm. You shouldn't have to make that much of an effort or think about a message that much.
Exactly.
And you just proved that. And some people say, well, it's all about timing. If you're both not in town, if you're traveling a lot. I do think timing has a lot to do with it. But if you really feel like you clicked with someone and you see that there's potential, you make it work still.
Yeah, you really do. So, I don't know. I feel like I've heard for so long people have said it'll just be easy, it'll click. And I know some people have relationships that they did have to work very hard to get to where they are. And I mean, this is all very new still, but I do feel like it was easy.
Yeah.
Like there was no games, and it just kind of flowed. And I think honestly it helped. Him and I met at a friend's birthday party. We have a lot of mutual friends.
Yes.
People spoke highly of both of us to each other, so that was a good push as well.
But you kind of persevered against all odds because, one, you met at a party. Two, you're both out of town one after another for a very long time. And three, you kind of like gave up on him when he first said, I'm going out of town. I'll call you when I get back.
Yeah.
So
it's true. I honestly did not think I was going to hear from him. When I got a text to hang out, I was like, wait, who? Oh, yeah. I was like, that guy.
Isn't that nuts that when people say something, we have a hard time trusting that they're actually going to follow up on what they're saying? Mm-hmm. That's sad. They're like, oh, he's just saying that, but that's not really going to happen. Well,
you
sound very happy.
I am. I'm very happy.
And did you guys do the traditional like first date and all that? Or did you skip all that since you have mutual friends?
No, we went out and grabbed drinks on our first date. And then our second date was actually like a mutual friend type of thing. So it was kind of scattered in between. Like we would go on a date and then we'd kind of do stuff with friends. So it kind of built on that. And
I remember during your episode, we said something, and I remember me saying this. It's like, Shelby, I think you just come off too cool. Like you go with the flow, you're, flexible to deal with, and you're very understanding. And maybe that sometimes makes men think that they can say something and not keep their promise. Do you kind of feel like things aren't that way with the boyfriend? Or
I don't think things are really that way. Maybe just because I felt comfortable with him more quickly because we did have all these mutual friends that I didn't feel like I had to be so like laissez-faire about everything.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
So for anybody who was in the situation you were in a few months ago, let's say with the Matt situation and not hearing from him again, what would you say to people who are in that same boat?
I don't know. I would say not fixate on it so much, that there are other people out there, and just to keep putting yourself out there. But obviously, if you feel like you have a really big connection with someone, just reach out. Like, honestly, I think with the Matt thing, I felt connected to him, but I wasn't super disappointed that I never heard from him either. We only had gone on a few dates. So I guess it is situational, but I'd say just don't give up.
Yeah, don't give up. And also know that you meet certain people for the right reasons. And maybe they're not there to stay in your life, but you have to go through these people to get to the right person.
Exactly. I dated a
lot. What's your boyfriend's name?
Andrew.
Well, we wish you and Andrew lots of happiness, lots of good times, and lots of just good vibes all around. Thanks so much for checking in with us. And it's like a very happy story.
Yeah, no, it is. If you would have called me a couple weeks or a few months ago, it wouldn't have been the same. So
right.
Yeah, you just never know.
Exactly. You never know.
Yeah.
Okay. Thanks so much, Shelby. I know you're busy with work and everything, so we'll chat later.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much.
Have you ever gotten an Uber or Lyft and found yourself really jiving with the driver? That's exactly what happened to Chris. On season 6, episode 5, called The Unexpected Ride, Chris told us the story of how he met his girlfriend when she was his Uber driver one fateful night. So, are they still together? Let's call Chris.
Hey, Chris, how's it going?
Hi, Chris.
Hi.
So what's up? We want to know. We haven't talked to you in a while, and, we're so curious if you're still with your girlfriend. Tell us everything.
Yeah, well, so I'm currently with her family. She moved to LA, and I'm going to move to LA very soon.
Oh, wow.
So we could stay together. We had a little bit of a rocky start to our relationship. A lot of pressure on each other to be, what we sort of expected out of a partner, and it was interesting to sort of go through that. We realised through the process that we were both kind of the same in so many ways. We had all this stuff we wanted to see in somebody, and the other person would live up to that expectation. And so it kind of culminated when I actually broke up with her.
Oh, wow.
On Thanksgiving. Not good, but she went off to do her family's Thanksgiving party, and then we sort of reconnected to meet up to go to a party that all of us invented together. And we decided, we should still go to this. And had so much fun at that party together that the next day I was like, you know what, that was a bad decision. We should get back together. And so 2 days after breaking up, we got back together. But And it's just been amazing. We've worked out so much stuff that we hadn't worked out before, and really gone through the trouble of saying, why are we doing this? What about this? What were the problems before? It's become such a better relationship for it. It's just a really good situation now.
But what do you think it was after the breakup? Like, what did you change about your communication style?
What I changed about my communication style was I started, asking her deeper questions. Why are you upset about this thing? Is there something else going on behind the scenes that's in your head, like something that you think that I should be doing that maybe I'm not? Is there something that I can do differently? I think another thing that I changed after that, I had actually let myself kind of change into someone else in a few ways. I like going clubbing, and she doesn't. And she would say, look, I'd rather that you didn't. So I had said, okay, well, I won't. And I realised that was having a little impact on me, sort of my happiness. It wasn't just that. There was various other things, nothing sort of damaging to the relationship. Breakup was a chance to reset all of that and say, why don't we look at each other as like, this is where you are and who you are right now, and I'm just going to work with that instead of try to mould you into something that I want you to be.
Wow.
The other day, she was like, yeah, that's all good. Glad you had fun. Very, very different. So it's been a really different relationships. So I think that the lesson there is like, you can try and change someone, but you're just going to cause a rebellion, or you're going to cause them to be miserable or whatever. It's way more rewarding to sort of look at where they are, who they are, and just say, I like the person for what they are, and it means that they're not going to be 100% what you want. What I've learned through this is like, there's certain things that I would like her to be different, but because she is who she is, I get to actually instead look at her as like a whole package and just enjoy that.
That is so well said. So well said.
Yeah, with relationships, in the beginning, everyone's trying to please the other person because you're trying to be happy and make this whole thing work. And then you reach a breaking point where you say, am I also compromising my own happiness or my own identity? So that's when the walls come down, and you have to have these like very candid conversations about, this is who you are, this is who I am. How can we meet each other's needs without compromising each other's happiness and identity? And let's address all the problems on the table right now. And I think that's when you have a real connection in a relationship. That's when the facade goes away. That's when you say, we're in this together, and we're trying to create a life together and possibly a future together. How can we get there? So it sounds like you guys reached that breaking point, and the walls have come down. And the next step is you're moving to LA for her.
Yeah, well, I mean, she actually moved for me, so it's kind of on me. We were standing at the pier at Santa Monica one night, and it was super warm, and I said, you know what, we should just do this. We should just move here and live here for a little while and try this out. So she then got contacted by a company that wanted to hire her in LA, and I said, why don't you go for it? And so she's over there. She's gone a little sooner than I am. I'm still kind of in the process of making my move, so I'm going to join her in January. And so I think that moving in together kind of signifies that point of seriousness, and definitely the facade has to come down in order for that to work. So it's sort of weird that we had this very dramatic way of realising that we were both kind of mistreating each other in a way by having all these expectations and not just accepting the other person for who they are. But I'm really glad that it happened because it's let us reset. I feel like having that blank slate is really great because it gives me the chance to just have a basically perfect record of not doing any of the sort of things that I wasn't proud of before, where she wouldn't live up to an expectation, and as a result we'd have an argument about it. And it's all fresh and all new. It's a new start. So
I love it.
City in the city, and then you start in a relationship.
That sounds great. That sounds like a great way to create a new life together and start something fresh.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that, Chris.
Thanks for updating us, and excited for your next journey.
Yeah, thank you. So yeah, these are really good. And I mean, if you would have told me a month ago, I would have said, I'm not so sure about this relationship. Things aren't 100% where I want them to be. And that was another learning for me, was that it is what you make it. In so many ways. Like, sort of, your own headspace can affect how you feel about it. But for the whole duration of the relationship, the most amazing thing about to me was her staying power. We would be right on the brink of breaking up. She would move never even come close in her mind to breaking up with me. And that was a big difference for me compared to past relationships. And it was something that made me really stick it out. So I appreciate that she really put the work in to keep us together, so that it never crossed her mind, as far as I could tell, that she would want to break up, even when it got really bad.
Well, someone told me the easiest thing to do in a relationship is to break up. That is possibly the most, the easiest thing you could do, the easiest decision. And for both of you to have the courage and the motivation to not let that happen and get back together says a lot about your relationship already.
Thank you. But you know what? I'm not the one who kept it together. I was the one who was like, this is really annoying and painful. And she was always the one that would say, or not say, but through her actions show that she's really serious about the relationship and wants it to work. And that kept me in the game. So that's a quality.
You need at least one person to do that.
Yeah. You gotta have one. Cool. Thanks, Chris. Keep us updated on your new life in LA. We'll do another catch-up sesh in a few months and see how things are going and what other relationship advice we can take from you.
Absolutely. Will do. Thank you guys so much. It's great to hear from you again. Maybe we'll have DATEABLE LA.
Yeah, please do. Bye, Chris.
Never know.
Bye.
It's time to take a quick break so we can tell you about our current sponsor, Audible. You get access to an unbeatable selection of audiobooks, including bestsellers, motivation, mysteries, thrillers, memoirs, and more. We've really been enjoying our subscription to Audible, listening to our past guest, Dr. Alexandra Solomon's book called Loving Bravely, and so many other books as well. We get to choose 3 titles every month, 1 audiobook, and 2 Audible originals you can't hear anywhere else. And the best part is that you can listen on any device, anytime, anywhere, at home, at the gym, on your commute, or just on the go. Right now, for a limited time, you can get 3 months of Audible for just $6.95 a month. That's more than half off the regular price. Give yourself the gift of listening. And while you're at it, think about giving the gift of Audible to someone on your list. Go to audible.com/dateable or text DATEABLE to the number 500500 today. That's audible.com/DATEABLE or text DATEABLE to the number 500500 to get started. Now, back to the show. A new dating term came out a few years ago called breadcrumbing, which the Urban Dictionary defines as the act of sending out flirtatious but non-committal text messages in order to lure a sexual partner without expending much effort. Well, on season 5, episode 10, our guest Farah was victim to chronic breadcrumbing from the guys she was dating. Is she still being breadcrumbed? Farah, please do tell.
Hi, Farah.
Hey,
How's it going?
How are you? Good.
We were wondering if you were breadcrumbing us for a sec.
Oh my god! I'm getting ready to go out. So I'm just doing my makeup and stuff, and just not paying attention that you were calling via Facebook. So I'm so sorry about that.
No
but
worries.
No, doing it on purpose.
No worries. We've connected now. We're clear on your intentions and ready to go.
We are so curious about what's been going on in your life. Are you still in this breadcrumbing situations, or have you got that under control?
Well, so I think I've got it under control. I'll explain why.
Yeah.
By the way, the episode is pretty popular with my friends too, and they're like, "Girl, I feel you. Been there, done that." I was like, "I know."
It was popular in general. People really related to it.
It was one of our most popular episodes because everyone's been breadcrumbed.
Yeah, no, I think actually I saw that Matthew Husby recently commented on it and how it's more dangerous than ghosting. I'm like, yeah, it really is. So I took all of the advice that I got, and basically what happened after the episode was I was dating someone for a few months, but turns out he wasn't really serious about, things like getting married and having kids anytime soon. So I went ahead and ended that. And then what ended up happening was did the same thing, went on the dating apps and so on. And one day I realized I was getting breadcrumbs. And I was like, oh, hell no. We're not doing this again. So I decided to go through the app, go through every single match that I had, and the app I was using wasn't Tinder or anything. It was the League, so you don't have as many matches. I asked every guy the same question, which is, what are you looking to get out of the League or otherwise? Mm-hmm. And the answers I got were super interesting. I think if men don't know you, like if they've never met you, they're usually pretty honest. Yep. I got guys who said, I just got divorced looking for some fun. And I was like, great, good on you. Not my journey, but like have fun. And then I had guys who were very wishy-washy, like, oh yeah, you know, whatever, it depends on the connection that I'm making with a person. And I was like, I ain't got time for that. Next, you know, like you could kind of tell who was being serious and who wasn't. And I also sent Julie some screenshots of the guy that I've been dating for the past couple months, where when I asked him, hey, what are you doing? You know, what are you looking for? And he's like, what do you mean a guy like me? I was like, okay, touche, good point.
Oh, he called you out. I love it.
He did, and I liked that. I was like, ooh, interesting. So I said, look, everybody's got their own journey. I just don't want to pick up any hitchhikers along the way. And he's like, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. And so he kind of went into what he was looking for and how kind of his, you know, perspective on life, and that's where it began. And so thank you for your advice. It worked.
Oh, great. So how long have you guys been dating? This is so exciting.
It's been a little over 3 months now.
Nice. Well, see, that's the thing. It's not so much about, I think people, you know, sometimes they think, how do I not get breadcrumbed? It's not so much don't get breadcrumbed, just weed out the people who will breadcrumb you.
Exactly.
That's the whole point. So you get them from the very beginning. And why are people so scared of asking that question? What is it you're hoping to get from this app? Right. Why are people so afraid to ask that? That should be the number one question you ask.
And especially when you don't even know them. It's not even personal at that point.
Exactly. And the funny thing is I've been telling my girlfriends, some of them have been doing it and some of them haven't. And the ones that haven't are still the ones that struggle. And I'm like, girls, ladies, stop it.
So what other signs have you gotten from him that he's not a breadcrumber?
Well, I mean, we communicate every day, which is good.
That's a big one.
That's a big win right there.
Well, what was nice was that when we first matched and connected, I was traveling and then he had to travel for work. So then we just ended up texting a lot and just sharing more about our lives and building that connection that way initially. So, I mean, I guess it's kind of like when people write letters to each other. It's the same thing before they meet. So it took us about 2 weeks, and then we were both in town, and we finally met, and we had a drink. And probably within 5 minutes, we were holding hands, and, you know, like he was whispering to me. It was just really intimate and nice to kind of know somebody before you meet them.
Yeah.
So it was just, so it was really great to just build that connection and just talk about, you know, things like your childhood and goals and all of that. And I think people just shouldn't be afraid of bringing it up at the beginning, because if a guy really isn't into that and he doesn't want those things, he's just going to, you know, pass and go on to something else, and you're better off anyway. They'll find somebody who wants the same thing you want, you know?
Awesome. Well, we're so happy for you. That's so exciting.
That's such good news. That is such good news, because it's a different perspective on dating. Instead of being in that rut that you were in, why does everybody breadcrumb? Why are these like great guys who seem like great guys in the beginning, they breadcrumb? Well, I think a lot of people are going through this because they don't ask the right questions from the beginning. If you ask the right questions and you establish your mindset, your standards, what you're open to, then it weeds out all the people who are not, like you said, on the same journey.
Or look at the actions. And I think, like you said, is like, if it's not lining up, it's like, can you have a conversation? If still not lining up, is it really the right person?
And, you know, some people would say, well, wouldn't someone just say all the right things in the beginning to get you to like them or get you to sleep with them? The thing is, like, this is what we've learned from talking to all the singles who are dating in this world today. It's so much work to do that. You know, like it'd be so much easier to just find someone else who's just looking to hook up, as opposed to trying to scam someone or like to manipulate someone just so they sleep with you. Like, most people don't want to waste that time.
Right, because there's more than enough people that will just do whatever.
Way more than enough.
And also, you can tell, too, when someone's genuine versus just feeding you stuff, for the most part.
For the most part,
unless they're real good.
That's so true. I mean, I will say that there were some guys that were breadcrumbing me that were still kind of hanging around going, oh, let's be friends, but I'm still not sure. I cut those people out.
Good.
Even before I started dating this guy, which I think is actually really key. Get rid of the breadcrumbers, reset, and just go forward, and your head will be so much clearer. You'll be so much happier. And that was something that I really learned, is just like, it's not about being mean or not being nice. It's just, you know, there's that saying, you should put your oxygen mask on first before helping others.
Yes.
And I really believe that. Like, just put your oxygen mask on for you and not because, oh, it might look bad or, oh, he may not like it. Who cares?
I love it. That is like a 180 from when we talked to last.
Yeah.
I love it. And I think also it's like I've noticed this in my own life too. It's like even if you don't have someone new, just removing people that aren't moving forward really makes that space for someone new to come. And like, it seems like at the time you're like, well, is this better than no one? But it actually, like, not having them does make that space.
Absolutely. I think it's important. You need that space in order for that person to come in, and you can't really do that if you're just thinking about what ifs and maybe and or have nots. But I'm serious. I completely cut certain people off, block them on LinkedIn, on Instagram, Facebook, every social media platform, deleted their phone numbers, and just now given them a second thought, and it's been great.
Well, I mean, the point of life is, because life is so short, you should surround yourself with people who are hell yes about you. Right. Instead of maybe, I don't know how I really feel about her. I don't know if I want to be friends with her or date her. Why would you want people like that in your life? So yes, cut out the people who are maybe about you.
Or people that are consistent, not just floating in and out when it serves them.
Yeah, exactly.
This has been so great to catch up with you and hear this new version. I love this like new refresh.
New version of Farah, who is now no longer being breadcrumbed, who's happy with a guy. I mean, that's what we love to hear.
I have to say, if it wasn't for you ladies and Rich, I don't think I would have gotten here as quickly on my own. So thank you from the bottom of my heart for all of your kindness and all of your guidance, and I love your show, and I hope you guys keep doing it for a very, very, very long time. So I think it really does help a lot of people. So thank you both so much.
That's so nice to hear, and I'm glad the tough love we gave you on there actually was love.
Hopefully I was a good student. I wasn't kidding.
And Farah, hopefully next time we catch up, your boyfriend can get on the phone too.
Yeah, I'm sure you wouldn't mind.
Awesome. Tthanks so much, girl.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Kisses and hugs. Bye, ladies.
Kisses. Bye.
And last but not least, do you guys remember Michael Vargas? He was our co-host at the start of DATEABLE and later moved to San Diego. Michael, who holds a master's in clinical psychology, was always our voice of reason. But he also had a quirky side to him, which was summed up quite well in season 1 on an episode called The Mushroom Pickup. Yup, it's exactly as it sounds. He used a mushroom to pick up a woman at a conference. We wanted to catch up with Michael to see how he's enjoying the San Diego dating scene, and more importantly, if he's used any other fungi to pick up women.
Well, stranger on the phone, Michael Vargas. How are ya?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you?
I'm good. I can't believe, how long have you been in San Diego now?
I think almost 3 years now.
Time just flies. Like I told you, we hit 100 episodes of Dateable. We still get emails about, how's Michael Vargas doing? So we thought, okay, it's time to check in because it's just been ages for one, but two, you're in like a completely different environment and we want to hear all about what you've been up to, but most importantly, your love life going on in that department. What's been going on?
I'm enjoying San Diego, actually. Just meeting some amazing people out here.
So that's a great segue into how is your dating life?
Okay. My dating life has been a bit of a roller coaster. The theme is really bad, then nothing, and then rediscovery and reconnecting.
Go into all those buckets.
So about 2 years ago, I meet a woman. We met through mutual friends, and we started dating. But before we started dating, I heard that she was going through a divorce. So I was like, okay. And then I also heard that it was, done with and everything like that. So I thought, okay. And we started dating. And it was actually really fun. We went out dancing a lot, which was nice. We both really liked to dance, and we had really good conversation. Like, I felt like I could really communicate with her. And what had happened was, apparently her ex-wife reached out to me saying, hey, we're still together. What are you doing? And I was like, what?
Wait, her ex?
Her ex-wife.
Her ex-wife?
Yes. Her ex-wife lets me know that they're actually trying it out. And I had no idea none of our mutual friends had any idea, and then she just vanished. Her phone number was cut off. She was off social media. She was just like gone.
Yikes.
So I felt like what hurt the most was that I thought that we were communicating so clearly. That's what hurts the most, is like, whoa, like I was so deceived, and I was like, I'm done. Tap out. I'm done. I'm taking a step back. And so I didn't date for about a year and a half now. Just within the past couple of months, I started dating again.
Good. Getting yourself back out there.
Yeah, I'm back in the early stages, having fun. Yeah, and setting new standards for myself.
Okay. What are these new standards?
I want to take everything very slow. So first, I know that I want a monogamous relationship. Mm-hmm. That's known for me personally. And this I don't know how to say this, but first standard is we both need to present STD checking to each other.
Okay.
And yes, it is about that, but it's more about how do they handle me asking that.
Right.
That's what I'm really curious about. Both, for sure. I think that's just a healthy thing. And to see, okay, we're going to go in this kind of uncomfortable situation, but we're also thinking about doing things a bit, so can we have a conversation about it?
Yeah.
So that's one. And then making sure that we're able to have a conversation what this means to us before we have sex. So those are two standards that I've kind of put in.
And then how are you meeting people?
I never have. I don't know if people knew this about me, but I never have done any online dating before.
Not even Tinder?
No, I've never done any online dating ever. But I meet people by going out. The other day, this is a fun little story. So the other day, we went out to karaoke at a place called Coyote, and I like to dance, and I was dancing. And then I sat down, and it's a gentleman's turn to sing karaoke, and he has a phone in his hand. By the way, it's an old flip phone, the one that opens and closes like a clamshell.
Okay.
And he's looking around, he has to sing, and he just hands it to me without saying a word. Just gives me his phone and starts singing. So I just put it on my lap, and I think he was singing for someone on the phone. And then I across the room, this girl and I make eye contact, and we start laughing because we're like, this guy just gave me his phone. This is a funny moment. And we kept making eye contact, and we kept flirting. Afterwards, he took the phone, and I thought, man, she's so pretty. 2 songs later, music turns on where a lot of people start dancing, and I just go up to her. She's sitting down, so I kind of crouch down below her a little bit, right, to give her that space, I guess. And I asked her, would you like to dance? And she goes, yes, I'd love to. You know when you dance with that person that it just instantly connects?
Yes.
That's what it was. I was like, whoa. Okay, great. We even had some silly parts where I was doing a can dance with her, and she started cracking up, and she said, thank you so much for making me laugh so hard. And then I'm starting to talk to her, and she tells me, oh yeah, I live in Arizona. Arizona is not where I live.
No.
She's here visiting. So that's some of the weird stuff that happens at times.
But what a fun story. People always complain they don't meet anybody out anymore. It's because we don't take a moment to even connect with someone or even make eye contact with them. It just takes a simple smirk and a little, nonverbal understanding, and then you can start talking to them.
And do it in a way that also makes them feel very comfortable and safe, right?
Right.
That's the biggest thing. Is regardless of what you're trying to convey, if you just help another person, especially a woman at a bar, to feel safe, yeah. And if it doesn't turn out to be anything, great. But as long as you practice that feeling of okay, they can feel safe around me, instantly, because you are a safe person, you would never do anything.
Right. Yeah. Okay. Great. So you're getting yourself back out there by making yourself more available. Any interest in going on the apps at all?
Really? No, it's not my thing. I'm more of I'd rather be out in public. And I don't think there's anything wrong about it. I don't think there's anything bad. I just don't think it's for me.
Okay.
I'm a very tactile experience. I don't like sitting on my laptop for longer than 45 minutes.
Right.
I'm just not connected to it, but I really like going out and just being around good people.
Right. And tell us about your podcast.
Yeah, so this is a new thing here. Is Our topics are basically about organizations that they prevent social issues from occurring in the first place. Things like domestic violence, poverty, homelessness. Just this morning at 6 a.m., I interviewed a gentleman who's from Uganda about how they work to create sustainable farming for these small families to help them out of poverty and hunger, and also to be able to provide more food for the community. And the way that they do it is fascinating because they work very hard to empower women to bring them to be a part of the discussion as equal partners. Like, that's the first thing they focus on, because they show how valuable women are. And that's just like a topic that we have on the show. So we did one recently with Dr. Emma Fulu from the Equality Institute, and they work to prevent violence against women all over the globe.
Wow.
Yeah. Who knows about them? That's insanity. And there's people doing these type of things all over the place.
So the name of your podcast?
Lead by Impact.
And where can people listen?
You can find it on iTunes, Spotify, Google Play, I believe Stitcher, and then on our website at leadbyimpact.com/podcast.
Awesome. Love it, Michael. So great catching up with you, and so happy that you're back in the dating scene with a renewed perspective and higher standards. That's how you do it. If you had to summarize the San Diego dating scene in one sentence, what would it be?
The San Diego dating scene is a very relaxed style of dating that is also very open at times as well.
Okay. And what is the main difference between San Diego's dating scene and San Francisco's dating scene?
So I think San Francisco, people go on just a lot more dates, but I think that San Diego has more of a long-term relationship feel to it.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mm-hmm. Compared to San Francisco, I'd say.
Why do you think that is? So people are more traditional.
I don't know about traditional. I just think that there's a lot of families out here. So it kind of like, because here's like a great place to retire, right? So families just live in San Diego, and I think it kind of like brings that element to it.
And which dating scene do you prefer?
There's a lot of driving out in San Diego. I think I like the more like, we're going to do this in San Francisco, but I like the long-term feel in San Diego. So what I mean by that is like keep more appointments compared to like San Diego.
Right.
I think San Diego people maybe a little bit more flaky at times. Not by much, but a little bit. So like those two things kind of put together would be boom, ideal.
Do you hear the same complaints in San Diego as we do in San Francisco, like being ghosted and breadcrumbed and all those terms? And
so I actually don't know what breadcrumb means, but I think, does it mean like they give me one weird little message that doesn't make sense, but they still like little bit by little bit?
Pretty much. I mean, they string you along.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Ghosting is definitely out here. Yeah, I think it's like people complain about the same stuff out here.
Okay, so for anyone who complains about the dating scene in their own city, I can pretty much guarantee you it's the same everywhere. So you're just gonna have to make it work in your city.
I like the term the grass is not greener on the other side, it's greener where you water it.
Yeah.
So water your dating scene, people. Raise your standards, okay? That's how you do it.
And also when people say, oh, as soon as I moved to this new city, dating was so much better, it's only because you're the fresh meat to begin with,
yes.
Right? And everybody wants to catch this fresh fish. Everything's new and novel, but then your newness wears off in like 6 months.
Yes. That's exactly what I was going to say. I was like, I miss the first 6 months of being able to walk into anything saying, I'm new here.
Me too.
You know, that is a great line for everything. I'm new here. Take care of me. Do something. Yeah, let's have fun. Be friends.
I'm impressed by everything you show me because I don't know anything here.
Oh, it's so good to talk to you.
So good to talk to you too. I'm glad we got to catch up. For anyone who hasn't heard Michael's own episode on Dateable, The Mushroom Trick,
oh my goodness,
it still ranks in our top 10.
Is it really?
Yeah. People really want to know about the mushroom trick.
Oh my goodness.
So,
she is now living near me, But we'll talk about that another day.
Okay, when you have an update.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. All right. Thank you again for doing this call with us. I'm so happy we got to catch up.
My pleasure. And thanks for having me back on. It was nice to get to play again.
We'll talk soon.
All right. Bye.
Bye, Michael. That's it for our catch-up sessions this week. Stay tuned for more next week, including our own updates. Also, we will be doing a Facebook Live on Wednesday, December 19th at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Time. We will be bringing you some special guests who have a big announcement they're making about the relationship. Tune in for that. And is there a particular guest you really would like to have an update about? Let us know. Happy holidays, Dateable family, and remember to stay dateable. This episode of Dateable is brought to you by 500 Brunches. 500 Brunches connects like-minded people with similar interests to meet in real life over brunch. You answer a quick questionnaire about your interests and how you spend your time, and then they'll match you in small groups of 6 to 8 at a brunch spot in San Francisco. Get a free entry into a brunch now by signing up at 500brunches.com and using the code DATEABLE. If you didn't know already, we have a revamped website with articles, videos, and content all about modern dating. You can also find our premium Why series, where we dissect, analyze, and offer solutions to some of the most common dating conundrums. We've had some great feedback about how actionable these episodes are, so check them out on our website or iTunes Music. Also, visit the site today to see the latest about coaching, where we connect you with Dateable approved experts to help with everything from dating profile reviews, coaching, and even gathering real feedback about your dating style in a personalized and affordable way. To connect with us, visit dateablepodcast.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all under Dateable Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe and auto-download the podcast on iTunes or your favorite podcast player so you never miss an episode.